Hello, everybody. This is episode 3 of the RJC Gaming Podcast. Uh, I guess I don't have to guess, I will be discussing or ruminating about episode 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 of WandaVision entitled We Now Interrupt This Program. Um, Before any further, spoilers throughout because why else would you be watching a video on the show unless you've seen it? It opens, pretty cool, a little disorienting, but then it turns out that I think Glenda, shit, Monica Rambeau's daughter, let's just call her Glenda, had been blipped, but then she was coming back into reality, so she's being blipped, and it's pretty cool, It sets up her backstory, and her life gets going. She goes back to Sword, which is kind of cool, and then there's just more world building in the MCU, more foundation laying, you know. And then let's see, we find out she was actually heavily involved in Sword before she got blipped, and that Sword has been a thing since the early '90s when What's Her Nuts showed up, Captain Marvel, which is cool because then she even makes a reference to the line about there being allies in space to the director who filled the position when her mother died. So it's an interesting episode. Mm, Not a whole lot to discuss because it just starts to weave in between the episodes. It's like the connective tissue, not connective tissue, just like all the stuff that's holding it together starts to open up. Not all the way, but it does. So it's pretty. Like I said, it's interesting. I'm just having a hard time piecing some thoughts together because it didn't really answer any questions that we didn't already know. There was one big thing at the end, the reveal with Vision. That was kind of cool, very frightening. Also, it doesn't say why it's happening, just that it happened. The beekeeper was obviously gonna be like someone trying to infiltrate the her reality bubble or whatever it is, or it's not a bubble either. Her reality 3D. I'm not sure if it's a hexagon like all the way up. It just. But yeah, it was like after he passes through the barrier, the dude who's in like a safe hazmat suit, excuse me, like morphs into a beekeeper's outfit that we saw at the end of episode 1. Or was that 2? No, that was 2 because she was pregnant. Okay. And then also the drone or the helicopter that Wanda finds is actually a sword drone that had been morphed in to look like a flying helicopter, which they probably wouldn't have had in the 60s or 50s. Definitely not the 50s. Probably not the 60s either. Uh, and we finally find out who's been watching the TV. It's Sword, obviously. Just because, who else would it be? Also could be, would have been whoever's like the instigator of this whole situation. Because while Wanda is certainly doing it, I don't think she's the person or entity behind it. Because we don't know why she would be doing this. We do kind of get an idea. She did it because Vision is dead. And he is definitely dead. Like, he's dead. That's definitively shown. And they do this episode does kind of lay the groundwork for what exactly Wanda's powers are. Because they mention a lot of cosmic background radiation. They say that massive amounts. And since she's doing this, it's pretty much a like hop, skip, and jump to believe that she can manipulate this because they said it's been around since the beginning, since it's been around since the Big Bang. which is what the Infinity Stones have been. Like, the six Infinity Stones have been around since the Big Bang. And Wanda's powers not only come from was it the Mind Stone, Soul Stone, one of the stones, but she's obviously wields the Red Stone of Reality. But it's gotta be like it's more than that because like what she could do. Then again, we're not. It's pretty nebulous on what that means to control reality. Because if she can control reality, like why does she need like the time stone or the mind stone, or even the space stone? I mean, I guess I don't know. It's all very vague at this point, but we are gonna get some answers. Hopefully, I mean, I would assume so because they took the time to bring in, uh, like they're bringing in, well, they brought back Darcy from Thor 1 and 2, which is cool, and she's a full-fledged doctor, and she knows they're sort of like built up her character. Like this is probably not the first time something like this has happened to her. We don't know if she was blipped or not, but like she knows what's going on. Like she's a smart cookie. Like her time with Jane and Thor. It's pretty groovy. Like so, yeah. I'm fairly optimistic that this next episode, episode 5, be interesting to see what they go. Now that they've sort of like given us a peek behind the curtain. Well, not so much a peek behind the curtain, just like they've given us more of the story. I'm wondering if we'll actually get a peek behind the curtain of like why Wanda is doing this. Who's manipulating her into doing this? Because someone has definitely manipulated her into doing this. Someone did it, or at least gave her the idea to do this, and now it's my theory is that it's going to be Agatha Harkness. I think that's her name, played by Catherine Hahn, who plays Agatha or Agnes. She plays Agnes, but they didn't identify her or the Herb. I think the neighbor is the one who was sawing through the concrete with a hedge trimmer. You know, but I think she's manipulating Wanda to get something. We don't know to what end, but I have an idea that it's going to tie into Mephisto, or excuse me, not Mephisto, Mephistopheles, because when in the comics, when she wills her children into existence, she can't just create life. She has to instill their bodies with a soul. Otherwise, I don't know why she has to, but she does, and she like pulls two random kids, or not random kids. She pulls like a set of dead twins into her body and poofs them out, and she gets them from Mephistopheles' realm. And I think Agatha is trying to get to Mephistopheles for some reason. Just a wild guess, though. Like, but again, we don't know to what end. Just that Wanda is doing this for some reason, and she knows that something is wrong. But she's trying to, like, for some reason, she's trying to delude herself into believing what she's doing. It's really, there's the coolest thing about this episode is that it's not the town of Westview. Like the perimeter is not just like a regular old circle. In the background, a couple times it says hexagon. Like why? There's a whiteboard. It says, "Why is this a hexagon?" And it's a very good question that hopefully will get answered. And I hope it's not just because she uses hex bolts in the comics. I mean, if it is, it'll be like, yeah, that's kind of cool. But like scientifically speaking, there's got to be a reason that it's a hexagon. I mean, I don't know what's significance this number 7 has in the MCU because it hasn't been established, but I'm sure it will be. And I'm still gonna bet in like the last episode that Doctor Strange is showing up. He's got to. I mean, they've already acknowledged and stated that yes, the events of this series are going to tie directly into Multiverse of Madness or Madness of Multiverse, whatever it's called. So, I mean, he's probably going to show up. It'll be like the last 5 to 10 minutes of the last episode. Like, oh no, you should have called me immediately. And they're like, oh, magic isn't real. And he'll be like, oh, haha, guess what? Is this your card? And they're like, oh no, ah. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. All right, I'm going to end it there. Peace out.